Hello and welcome back to the Prosperity by Design podcast. I decided to change the name because I can. It's my podcast. And in all honesty, as much as I love to talk about content, I don't really want to box myself into just talking about content on this podcast. And I just want to cover a quick story from way back in 2020 and 2021. I was receiving coaching at the time where the person who I was being coached by literally said to me, I have no idea what it is that you do. You are selling this one, notebook, and you had this group program, and now you're working on videos, and I don't know what you do. And I was like, I feel like it's really simple. It all kind of ties into each other. And just to give you a little bit of background, the way that it worked was I had created a physical product, a notebook, the Ninja Notebook, and I used a framework to create the notebook. And what I did from there in terms of creating the notebook was I went viral on TikTok because I basically used the very same framework. And it wasn't like a, intentional thing that I was like, oh, well, I'm going to go viral. It was pretty unintentional. It had a lot to do with the fact that I posted about a topic that was trending at the time. But I still used the framework when I made my content. And from there, I decided to have a group program all about this framework and how people can start to use this framework in their business. And it did really well. And people asked me how I went viral on TikTok. And I started taking these intensive sessions and these one-on-ones. And so people started talking to me about how I was associated with content and video content specifically, and going viral on TikTok. And it all came down to this framework at the end of the day. It started with the framework. That's what helped make the notebook. That's what helped, generate revenue when I went viral on TikTok. That's what helped the group. That's basically what the group program was about. And that's how I got to the point of talking about video and video marketing, because people kept asking me how to go viral on TikTok. And I was just like, well, it's this framework, right? And she got on a coaching call with me after I had launched that video course that I had at the time. It was called The Real Deal. And she was like, I don't know what it is that you do. I don't know what your business is about. I don't know what you sell. I don't know what you talk about. And from that point forward, my mind has been just completely fakakta, to say it nicely, just completely fakakta. And so I've been, if you were to think of a pendulum, right, I've been so far to the right or to the left, whatever side, in terms of making content about one particular topic for the longest time. I'm going on 2 whole years now. And I wanted to create a place and a space that I could talk about more than just content, because you as a human being are more than just what you do. Okay, you are a being. You're a human being. You're not a human doing. You are not defined by what it is that you do. You are not defined by what it is that you bring to people in the form of a product or a service or an offer. You are a human being. You existing, your personality, who you are, your characteristics, your traits, that's enough, because it's different from somebody else. And what you get to do is you get to solve people's problems through vehicles like a framework or, YouTube or TikTok, whatever it might be. You get to solve people's problems through some vehicle with your unique being. And I really didn't want to continue to box myself into content. And while, yes, I really do know content very well, and while, yes, so many people in my community know me for content, video content, graphics, etc., I am not defined by content. People don't know me because of content. They know me because of who I am, because of who I invite them to be, to call them up to a higher being in themselves. And so that's why I decided that I'm not going to name the podcast, and I'm not going to continue to call my podcast the Content Code Podcast, because it is so much more than a content code. And it's so much more than the code framework that my partner and I created. It is a space to show up authentically and talk about what is genuinely going to make you prosperous. And that could be in the form of content. It could also be in the form of mindset. It could also be in the form of manifestation. It could be in the form of astrology. It could be in the form of dreams. It could be in the form of something a little bit more physical and tangible that you and I all like to talk about, money, right? So I wanted to give this episode to you as a little bit of not just an insight behind a story that I come from, but also as a reminder that you do not need to box yourself in, and you don't need to have anybody box you in. That is the biggest disservice that you or anybody else could do. So this episode is literally your reminder that you are a creative being. You get to be who you want to be and how you want to show up in whatever it is that you create in the world. And if somebody ever tells you, oh, well, you want to have top of mind awareness for your marketing, run for the hills, run as fast as you can. I feel like Scar when Scar told Simba to run when the stampede started coming, like, just run, never turn back. Please don't take that to heart, because especially if you're into human design like I am, if you are a manifesting generator, you are a multifaceted human being. That's actually your superpower. And there is absolutely nothing wrong talking about other things. I think that when there's one concept that we all need to appreciate here, and that is everything is content at the end of the day. It could literally be a conversation you had with somebody in your DMs. It could be a conversation you had on the phone. It could be something like a lot of the content that I have been talking about recently. If it's not a story of my own, it's a story from a container, a community, whatever you want to call it, that I'm in. And I'm bringing it to you so that you can start to learn from it as well. So literally your content could be anything under the sun. And if you find yourself in a place of overthinking it, like I recently have been, I will admit I am overthinking my content, okay? Trust me, I know. Like I'm sitting here, talking on this podcast, but I am also allowing myself to speak it out on this podcast. And if you find yourself in a place of overthinking, I think the best thing that you can do is find a way to express and get out what you need to get out. And, going back to human design, maybe you have a defined throat, and maybe that's you talking and you speaking, and that's okay. That's how you're going to get out what you need to get out. That's how you're going to express it. Maybe you have another form of expression in your human design that you're like, okay, yeah, I know that I need to get it out this way. Or, maybe you're not into human design. Maybe you're like, I like creating videos, and I know that I like creating videos. Okay, go on to YouTube, go on to TikTok, make videos, right? Even Instagram Reels. Do what works for you. And allow yourself the freedom to swing in either direction. Because, yes, there are some things that you want to stick to in your content, but there are other things that it could be so loosey-goosey about. Like, okay, this is by far the best tip. I don't even know this is a tip. I just feel like this is like a golden rule. This is by far my number one golden rule for content. You must, when you go to create your content, you must be speaking to who specifically you are looking to talk to. If you are specifically talking about one kind of subject, it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, there could be 17 different types of people who are interested in that type of content. Let's just take me posting about content as an example, right? If I were to be posting about content, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, content creators, influencers, they're all different types of people, but I want to talk specifically to one type of person. So my number one golden rule for you when you go to create content, or anything for that matter, is that so long as you know who specifically you are talking to, the parameters as to what the topic is does not matter, because you know that person will need said topic in said way of being delivered. So when you go to create your next piece of content, lean into who you are speaking to. Lean into what they are struggling with, what they're desiring, what they are looking for, and create content speaking to those things, those struggles, those desires, those issues, those circumstances, whatever, those identities, right? That is going to be like my number one golden tip for this episode, although I'm sure there are a couple more golden nuggets in there. I've been talking for like nearly 15 minutes and I can't remember exactly what I said 12 minutes ago. So in any case, I digress. There are a couple things that I want to talk to you about, since this is, the wrap. This is the bow on the end of the episode. And as a reminder, the first 50 reviews that I get on this podcast will be getting a goodie box in the mail. And all you have to do to enter is take a screenshot of your review and post it on Instagram and tag me. And then, like I've been saying in every episode since, I will reach out to you to see where I need to send this box, because I want to give you some goods. Number one. Number two, sorry, I needed burp. It's official. It's for real. The Seasons of Business membership is coming. I am super excited. I've only been dreaming of this Seasons of Business membership for like 2 whole friggin' years. And the thing is that this is not your ordinary membership. I'm purposely going over and beyond for this membership because it's just been a dream of mine since literally probably the beginning of 2021. Maybe 2022. I can't remember. I was pregnant when I thought of it, so it was probably 2022. In any case, the Seasons of Business membership is kind of exactly how it sounds. Everybody talks about these seasons in their business and how they're in a season of high sales, or they're in a season of low sales, or they're in a season of this or a season of that. And there really is no definition to it. And it's hard to know in such a saturated space what season you're in, or what you're experiencing or going through, because nobody's talking about it with you, and nobody's really giving it any kind of definition. And so the Seasons of Business membership is a place where we're going to dive into all of those different definitions as far as what to anticipate and what season you're in and how to navigate those seasons so that you can efficiently run an online business and call in abundance, because God knows how many people struggle online and it's just not necessary. It seriously is not. So I think that's going to be a different podcast though, because I took a note down from a call that I was on earlier today about someone who was talking about how they weren't in flow and like all of these other like they've been putting all of this energy out and blah, blah, blah. And I, as much as I would love to get into that episode right now, I really want to stay on track. Sorry, manifesting generator brain. But point is, the Seasons of Business membership is coming out, and that is where we are going to efficiently and effectively navigate the seasons in your business so that you can profit in your online business. it is my baby. This is literally my baby. I'm so excited that it's coming to life right now. Not in like, like this weird, like, I don't know. I just made it weird by saying it was weird, but you understand what it is that I'm saying. I'm really excited about it. I've only been dreaming about this for so long now, and it is actually happening. So if you are interested in the Seasons of Business membership, check out the show notes. I'm putting the link in the show notes down below, and you can go scroll through the sales page. There are literally like FAQs, and there's, the links to everything all in that one page. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid. Send me a DM on Instagram. I will definitely be sure to message you back with any other details and to answer your questions. So until then, thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you in the next podcast.